I don't know if I said this. I know I've been talking about, you know, well, forget what I've been talking about. Here's the thing. Man, there's things that I have learned through experimentation that the educational system is teaching that are incorrect. And it's all good. But here's the thing, man. Usually when I'm talking to people, and there seems to be this thing amongst people who are hanging around people who are uneducated, if you will, don't have a bachelor's or master's degree, or I don't even know what people are really thinking, to be honest, if that even has anything to do with it. But here's the thing. I tell a person, okay, oh yeah, that plan to come back, all you gotta do is let it go ahead, girl. Oh no, it's only an annual. It doesn't come back. So what happens, this is what I talk about when people, the matrix, the agent jumps into the person's head. They start articulating to me the latest data out there. Now, let's just get how deep this is. One, this is something you don't know. It's just something somebody else told you, not somebody you met told you. Somebody, a school, a book, an institution, something that somebody else wrote down told you. And it's all good, but you never ask me, how come I say different? Apparently and obviously, you actually think I'm just speculating. And not just me, I see people do this to people all the time. Never ask, how do you know, or why did you say that? And I find this especially amongst so-called intelligent people, because it's mainly the people who got the education, but not always, that they're always coming back with the comebacks. But I know they've been taught the scientific process. I know you're supposed to inquire, you're supposed to ask. You know, you just can't assume just because the information that a person gives you is contradictory, or not necessarily contradictory as much as maybe an expansion upon the knowledge that's out there, but you just gonna turn around and assume because it's been approved by the institutions, approved by the common tradition of the time, but we always continue to evolve. So when the common person, unless they do it on some kind of scale that brings attention to it, that puts it on the national level, when they actually come to a uncommon understanding that is pushing the envelope of where we stand, most of our ground level, grassroots scientists and people who are pushing the envelope things are overlooked. Because think about this, the culture has put into the minds of most people, if you were not approved by the educational institutions, that they assume you don't know without question. I'm trying to get people to think, man. Now think about this. Now if we're talking about the improvement, the growth of our society, and if more people were recognized for the content of their intelligence. See, that's one of the biggest things I see happen right here. Because, just watching this video, man, about boxing, you dig? I like boxing, martial arts, mixed martial arts, you dig? But every time, that's what set the standard for manhood. I disagree. I disagree completely. Self-defense, security, yeah. But, man, let's box intellectually. That's what's going to take us to the next level, not just who can beat up who. Yeah, we got to have those because you got to be able to protect your intellectual property. But what's really going to take us to that next level, because this intellectual property, it took even the boxer or fighter to the next level, because they start coming up with, some science and some real things. Is if you refine it in yourself, it's hard for anybody to fool with you. But that's just applying it to one aspect of self. You got to apply that same type of tenacity and creativity and evolvement in the production of a scientific process that is next to none, depending on the practitioner, but gives you a next to none even if you're just a basic practitioner in all aspects of self. And one of the things I find is most neglected in this social structure is the intellect. Because most of us intellects are bound to the parameters of the social education traditions of its paradigm. Very few people are pushing this boundary, pushing this envelope, because, like I say, most of the educated, not educated, people doing their research, first thing you doing is spitting somebody else's quote, somebody else's idea, somebody else's result, but you ain't tested none of it for yourself. And then you're going to sit up here and talk to me, act like I don't know, when you the one don't know, because I tested it. That's why I say what I say. Peace, love, respect, and loyalty to uplifting the human species. Y'all gonna catch up with me in a minute. I used to say that all the time, man. People like thought I was arrogant, you know what I'm saying? I got another one, man. I make it make sense. Now, see, I know my brother down, country style, he said it, but he don't know, man, back in the day, man, when I was in my 30s, that's how I answered my phone. Make it make sense. I didn't say hello, peace, what's up, who this, nothing. Make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm gonna let you know you're gonna catch up with me in a minute. And it ain't nothing, man. Here, okay, something else I was just thinking about earlier. It ain't nothing but thinking different. Here, now check this out. Very few people go back to study any language that's relevant to where you were stolen from, or let alone just a foreign language, period. Now, you got to remember, one of the main things they wanted to break us from was speaking our own tongue. Wow, well, they figured we could plot against them, and they didn't know what we was talking about. Oh, it ain't just that, baby. How you speak is relevant to how you think. Learn a different language and watch how you start thinking different. Even though you ain't got to study nothing different. If you could put yourself on an educational hiatus and don't do nothing but study language, but in the process of that, living your life, but don't learn nothing new, you'll watch how your mind will start thinking different just because you are able to speak and articulate and understand and read another language. Because now what people ain't search themselves, man. Your mouth, your palate is like a trumpet or a saxophone. And how the air travels through it hits pressure points that affect your chemical equation, which is affecting your anatomical and psychological perception. Yeah. So now you're locked into a perception. We get locked into a perception based on the languages we can or can't speak. See, I've been talking to people about brainwashing for long, but nobody wants to believe that it's actually possible. Because they don't this is the thing. The reason people want to get argumentative with me about when I'm discussing brainwashing is the fact that they don't understand their consciousness to know what it takes to be able to brainwash a person. By not teaching your language, not letting you speak your language, I done brainwashed you. Here, I'm going to tell you, break it down real simple for you. Okay, there are words in other languages that don't translate to this language. So there's the concepts that have been considered that have not been considered in this language. So therefore, it don't translate. And, you know, any people knows a language is basically, you could be sitting there watching TV, have a closed caption on, and you'd be like, okay, that's kind of what they said, but that ain't what they said. If you know the language, just a little bit. And, you know, if you take this little bit off, just a little bit off, and the fractures, and you take that across a whole story or a whole religion, by the end, you actually got a whole different picture. Because each one of the little steps off the main path of conceptual contemplation to be able to articulate aren't there. This language, this culture has not contemplated some things that other cultures have already contemplated. So it can't be translated. So even if you have read they knowledge back to front, front to back, there's still shit you don't know. I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know, still don't know, still learning. But I have recognized that, yeah, there's a limitation in every language. Because you got to get into more and more languages that have contemplated things. Like when you get into languages that actually are articulating through, whether it be mythology or just how they interact with one another. And the words that to use are actually applying, say, if you will, quantum physics ideologies in a way which the culture then embraces that idea as a lifestyle of living. And not just a science to be applied to physical matter to achieve X, Y, Z what's the word? Experiment, not the word, what you come out, the product, or, yeah, the product. I'll just leave it at that right now. Not the word I was looking for, but here. So, you see how you trapped, you're bound, how we are bound, how I've been bound. So that, I don't want to get that people, I say we, you, me, pointing fingers like I ain't in that same. I learned this stuff working my way out of exactly what I find most people to still be caught up in. I got stuff to do. Peace, love, respect, and loyalty, the upliftment of the human species.